Hey, welcome back to the channel. So that's how you do that. If you're new to my channel, my name is Joe Latender. Glad to have you here. Today I have a full house install. It's packed with lots of goodies. I'm going to share with you things that are going to be able to help you get a plank install done. Whether you're a beginner or a novice or even a pro, I'm going to share some tips with you that will definitely help. We're going to get going and we're going to start with the layout. I'm going to share with you a new tool that you can use to really simplify this and make it easy. Then we're going to move on to that first row where I'm going to share how to do that, because this is a place where a lot of people struggle. I'm also going to share some pretty cool spacers with you in there that you can check out. And then I'm going to also, throughout the video, you'll see me using some different tools like a pole bar, a tapping block, and even a plank shear that will all help you make this job go a lot smoother. The plank shear is really nice to have next to your side so you're not getting up and down all the time. Really a time saver and a body saver. And then we're going to move on to another tool called the cheater board. Now this is the tool that you're going to use to mark all of your cuts around jambs, cabinets, walls. It's a game changer. I'm excited to share that with you. Then we're going to move on to some difficult areas like through doorways, things like that, where a lot of people also struggle. I'm going to show you some methods in there that are really going to simplify that for you so that you can get through those areas very easily. And then we're going to talk about working backwards. And that is another area that people struggle with. If you don't know what that is, you'll find out soon enough. This video is packed with a lot of great stuff that's easy to learn. Well, let's get started. Now, this isn't an ordinary tape measure. This is a customizable tape measure to your size plank. So this tape comes blank. It's like a story pole, and you make the marks where your plank ends. Making my mark right at the edge of the plank here. Now I'm just going to take this and start over down here. This is 25 feet long. I have 25 feet of my plank size on here. And that makes it so I can very easily go around and see how large of a piece I'm going to have, how big or small along walls, where the plank is going to land in doorways. Very easy to use this. This is the wall I'm going to start on. Now the reason why I decided to start here and work this way in this house is because I want to avoid working backwards as much as I possibly can. Now the plank has a tongue and a groove side to it. We always want to try to work away from that groove side as much as we possibly can. Whenever I work away from the tongue side, that's what I consider working backwards. So when I'm figuring out where to start, I'm thinking about where can I start to work the least amount of backwards work. So I would have about this big of a piece from here to here, a full piece on the other wall. If you follow this line right here, you can see that it's barely making the door jamb there. I'm like a ½ inch short. Now that gives me a little bit bigger of a piece along this wall. It makes it so I still hit this door jamb right here in the bathroom, and it gives me a decent sized piece along that outside wall. This is a spot where I wouldn't be able to do it with a wood floor. I'd have to modify somehow, some way to make this work. And so I don't want to do that. What I want to do is make sure that the long joint of the plank is going to land in these doorways. I honestly could have based the whole layout off of just these two doors, but I wanted to show you a different way to get to this point. So we are definitely going to adjust our layout to make sure that we hit these doors. So let's see how we did so far. So here's how this joint runs all the way down. I'm going to X that too so I remember. Now I'll take my layout buddy, put it right on that joint on the seam, and we'll check this out. And the plank lands in this doorway towards the back side of it. It makes it, so I like it. So my plank line lines right here. This way a little bit, I believe. Push it that way, you can see I'm going to be like almost a full piece right here. And that is actually going to be, for this bedroom over here, the same exact situation. It's going to give me a pretty small piece right here, but it's only a 2-foot section. So this is going to have a good healthy piece. So that's good because that means that every room in this house that shares this exterior wall, which there's 2 other bedrooms that do, it's gonna have that same piece. Okay, so now that I'm done with going over the layout, kind of getting a really good idea of where I want that starting plank to be, how big I want it to be, I have these marks that I made. I'm gonna bring those out into the room a little bit. I'm gonna snap a main line all the way down from the kitchen all the way down into the living room. Then we're gonna lay out some pad and we're gonna start those first rows, and that's what I'm gonna show you how to do now. So today I'm gonna be installing a wood plank, and it installs just like a vinyl plank or a laminate does. It has a locking system on it. The difference is that it doesn't have an attached pad, and we need to put a pad down. I'm using Quiet Walk. Now this is Quiet Walk Plus, and it's blue. It's not what you want to use under vinyl plank. You want to use Quiet Walk LV, which is black, which is a little thinner. This stuff though, we're going to use underneath this floor. It's got a like a felt backing on it that absorbs moisture. It also will wick moisture away, and it doesn't cause moisture. Like if you put a vapor barrier down on a floor, plastic sheeting just right directly to a concrete floor, you're going to create moisture. This, because of the felt backing on it, it doesn't do that. Very good pad, I highly recommend it. Now I want to show you the difference here. This is the groove side. Groove side, tongue side, tongue side. We always want to work away from the groove as much as we possibly can, so we're going to point the tongue side towards the starting wall. So I'm going to use the locking system as my guide and make a mark on this plank, and that's where I want to cut it. Now from here to here, it's a little bit more than a 1/4 inch. There's my cut. Check everything one more time, triple check with the layout buddy, and make sure that we're still straight and that nothing moved. So we're just gonna run this along all the plank here. What's the difference between the cheater board and just an ordinary scrap piece of plank? The difference is the groove right here. I modified it. I took some off. I cut some of this groove off to shrink this up a little bit, and that is how you adjust for your expansion joint. You can take a little bit off, you can take a lot off, you can leave it all on. It really depends on what you're looking for an expansion joint. So you can adjust this as you get started on your cutting and figure out how much you want to leave on or how much you want to take off. So now before I put in the first row, I don't want to cut this vent out. Even when I put the second row in, I'm not going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it later. I'm just going to mark the vent this way off of that fireplace. I'm going to make a couple of marks so you can see. I mark it a little shy. Somebody's going to be saying, Joe, why such a small piece in the beginning? That's not the way you do it. I did this for a reason, so I can make the doors, man. I planned my layout. So again, don't be alarmed by having a small piece, because sometimes that's going to happen. It's along an area right here where it's still going to be pretty hidden. You're coming in the door, there's going to be rugs here, there'll probably be stuff there. Who's ever going to know, right? And you're going to have small pieces. Because I have a small piece, I am going to use some wood glue to hold these together. And I'll also be adding it in the long joint. I just want to make sure this is never going to come apart. You don't have to put a lot in there, just a little bit to hold it in there is going to be plenty. Okay, so now I'm going to get this lined up with my line again. So again, with the layout buddy, it makes this really simple and fast to do. See, we're lined up. We're right on top against the finished part of the locking system. Now I'm going to put my spacer in here and adjust it accordingly. Why I prefer this spacer over any other is because it sits flat. It's not going to tip over. It's nice and solid. And it adjusts. So if you have an expansion joint that's an 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, 3/16, 1/2 inch, whatever it is, this thing is going to accommodate that. It's customizable. And if you have crooked cuts, wavy walls, you have to be perfect to use those spacers that are all one size. So you can see I have my mark right here and then one right here. And make my mark for right here and right here. Just draw my line there. There we go. So you can see I'm off just a little. It's kind of hard to see that line now, but it's right there. I can see it. I just slide it until I get my mark on that line. Now I know it's straight. All right, it's cheater board time. So I want to bring the cheater board out past the fireplace, whatever I want my expansion joint to be, and then I make a line that way. Now I'll just come along the fireplace right here. Just because, just to be safe. Just start putting this row in some more. Now we'll put this row in. Now usually if I have a cut that's like 8 inches or less, I'll stick a little glue in the end joint to make sure that that's never going to pop out. Just going to make sure that my plank is lined up with my line that I snapped. Now you can see that isn't going anywhere. Easiest floor I've ever installed. And then I attached another plank to that, and now I'm extending this all the way down. So this is the row that I'm going to be cutting in now with my cheater board. This vent a little different, is all I did was I took my cheater board, I lined it up against the wall, I see where the vent is, and then I made a mark on the wall. Lined it up, made the mark on the wall. So now I know where the sides are. Now if you check my layout, buddy, these marks that I made on the vent earlier are the same marks that I'm going to use for this vent. just 3 times, or 1 time for 3 pieces. I actually don't have to get up because my cutter is right here. Now I'm just going to try to bust it out. Now if I damage something on the inside here, not that big of a deal because no one's ever going to see in here. It's the other side that's more important. I want this to be nice and loose under here. So I like to bridge it. It forces this part to get straight. Now I'll take my cheetah board and I'll mark this. Now this is actually working out beautifully for me. I thought I might have a little bit of a small piece right here. I knew it was going to be close, but what's actually going to happen here is I'm going to be cutting just a little bit off. So this worked out really well for me when I adjusted my layout. Another one of those spots where you can see how close this was and how the layout buddy really helped me dial in my layout to be able to make sure I made this work. I'll just continue this row to the cabinet. Now I'm going to use that mark to get it all straight the rest of the way. All that will cut out. Since it's so small. Here's the edge of the other plank. I just lined the top edge up so those 2 joints line up perfectly. And this will be the spot that we'll cut out for that part. And then we'll just continue on. Just come out a little bit. A lot of times I just do this and I'll square it up that way. Now again, I can't really get underneath there, so I'm just going to make a couple of marks where the cheetah board ends against the wall, where I bring it in a little bit. I know it's going under then. I only installed this row up to that point right there because I knew that I would have to take it out. And the reason why is because I need to cut this locking system off a little bit. I need for this locking system to clear the other plank and the other locking system. Now that I know that this is going to work and I don't need to do any modifications, now I'm going to actually pull this piece back up. So I'm just going to throw glue right in this joint. I just took a scrap. I have the locking system, which is the tongue, so it can go into the groove. And now I'm just going to start hitting this plank in. And I'm using this so that I don't hit the plank too hard and damage it. Lift up a little. need to use the pull bar to do it, but I can actually do this without. And then I'm just gonna slide it till it locks. So now we're gonna be doing what I consider working backwards. Now working backwards is working away from the tongue side. This whole time I've been working away from the groove side, which is the easiest way and the proper way to install the plank. Now that we're gonna work away from the tongue side, it kind of makes it a little bit different. So what I like to do is just try to get that groove started. And if you slide it back and forth and work it like that, you'll be able to get it so it gets into the proper seating. And you're just gonna let it drop down. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. You can use a scrap piece. I cut this scrap piece right here so that we have the groove side on there to be able to hook this onto the plank and then use our tapping block to hit it. Now the second way to do it would be using the tapping block. Now with this, if I go really light, you can see how the plank drops. Now with this plank, because of how easy it is to install, it actually does go pretty well working backwards. If you damage the groove when you're using like a tapping block, like the plank hammer, it really doesn't affect the plank much at all, okay? Now once you damage the tongue side, the plank isn't gonna go together. So that's really where the big thing is that people struggle with. It's because they damage the tongue, they can't get the plank together. So again, just go ahead and slide it a couple times back and forth till it gets in the track. I'm holding it nice and firm. Then I'm gonna drop it down. Hit it really lightly. Now it's all seated. And again, I like to start so I can get it in the track. And then real lightly, hit it with the plank hammer until it drops down. Now all I have left is the dishwasher area. And honestly, the less joints, the better. So I'm gonna just measure and put some full pieces in here. There's a couple of ways to do this. I've already showed you one where you just stack plank on top of this, making sure that it's all lined up perfectly all the way down. Now another way to do this is just use the row that you just put in. Making my line coming this way. Real simple, especially when you have a nice wall to follow along. Real simple. just to make sure that this is straight. So now I'll just start marking the rest of the jam. So you can see that's what I need to cut out. Just in case I break the locking system a little, I'm going to put a little glue in here. So I can get it started to lock in down here. When I get down here, I'm just going to shove this under just to give me so that I can push down right here and have it at a little bit of an angle. This piece is actually going to go in here. Run my cheater board along the wall. Now this door jamb actually rests against the wall nice and flat. Making my mark there. Make sure it fits. Now I can start pushing this piece into the locking system. Okay, so for my next row, I just hooked on a plank, and then I started building off of that down into the bedroom. Only connect the long joint. I don't connect the butt joints at all. I leave a little bit of a gap. Now this part of the plank is all solid because I did the bridge method here. So coming into the room, the first foot, I know it's going to be pretty dang straight. So now I can measure off of this wall. Whatever that measurement is, I can use it right here to make sure it's straight. Once I get past the closet, now I can sneak into the closet and use that wall. Now I'll do the same thing into this bedroom. So I'm still underneath, just make a mark. Now I can just square that up and start drawing my lines this way. So I got the cheater board underneath. I'm gonna pull it back because I have it all the way pressed against, pull it out a little bit. Now I can draw this line for here and all the way down here. So I got it lined up. Now I can do the same thing here. I just want to point out these two spots. This is where I really knew I was going to be close, and I just got to say the layout buddy really helped me on this, and I nailed it. There we go. Start putting my spacers in. Now I know I need to go that way a little. Just so I don't go too far, I'm going to shove a spacer in there. There we go. This plank is just so easy. So easy. And really, it looks really good too. Slide it under, it hits, I bring it back out, now I'm gonna draw. Now for this part right here, again, I just slide under, I'm hitting, now I'm gonna pull it back this way, make a mark right there where I want that to end, and all of this will get cut out. Now I'm gonna start getting it in place. Sometimes you just gotta press on this side to get it to start. See it locking up. Put my knife under. See the glue squirting out right there. Put some blue tape on it. And that will keep this on over for a few hours. Okay, so now I'm gonna start working in the closet. So again, I hooked on a plank and then I hooked plank onto that to extend it from wall to wall. Same thing for in here. I'm gonna get it started right here. But that was able to lock in nicely. Now I need to make a mark right here because that's where it ends. This is the front part of it right here. So this is going to come down. So now this is going to get cut out and then that for the wall. For this, I'm just going to mark right where it ends, here and here. Now I can stick the other side in and I'll just need to mark right here. And then I can just mark right there. Something like that. I didn't modify this, but I'm going to put a little glue in it just in case I break the lip while I'm trying to put this in. Put this in place. You can see the plank landed in the closet door. I also made it in this closet door, barely, just like I said. We also made it in this closet door. And then we just made it on the island. So there you go. You can see I made everything that we talked about in the very beginning with the layout, using the layout buddy. This is a pretty busy layout, so I'm making all of those doorways and then avoiding some small pieces in some of the areas, but knowing that I was going to have a small piece, there weren't any surprises. We were able to see exactly how everything was going to go by using the layout buddy. So now I want to show you what this place looked like when it was all done, with all the trim, the paint done, everything inside the house complete, and then also some furniture was put inside there. You can just see how nice this wood really looks inside this house. Absolutely stunning. Now this was a house that I did for my pastor, which he's a youth pastor at the church I go to. He's also a contractor by well, he's also a contractor by trade, really. So this was a fun one to do. Very glad to do it. Now, I also wanted to just let you know that if there's anything inside this video that you want some more details about, I have a bunch of videos on YouTube on my channel that break down almost every single aspect of an install where you can get a lot more detailed information. I just can't make these videos 3 hours long, otherwise no one's going to watch them, right? But you can go and see breakdowns of different aspects of the install. Just go check out my channel and you'll see that. If you're interested at all in the tools or the flooring inside this video, again, check out the description. You're going to be able to see all the links for all of that stuff inside there. I do want to say that if you the tools that you've seen inside this video are on my website, and they are tools that I actually make. So do want to say thank you so much. My family can't thank you enough for your business if you decide to purchase from us. I'm also going to tell you that I do have a membership site. If you're looking for some coaching, you can go get a membership there and work with me one-on-one. If that's something that you might be interested, go check that out. I'll leave a link for that below in the description too. And if you don't mind, I'd like to pray. Father God, I pray that everybody who watches this video, that you bless them, Lord, and their families. I pray that they feel your presence, Lord. And I also pray, Lord, that you give them the wisdom and the skills that they're going to need to be able to complete this project, Lord. To be able to, also I pray that you give them the confidence that they need to be able to do this, Lord. Let them know that they can do this, Lord. And I just pray again that they feel your presence, and one more time, Lord, that you bless them and their family. And I pray for this in Jesus' name. Have a lot more videos coming out. Winter is here. It's DIY season. I'll see you on the next video. Again, my name is Joe Latender. Hit that like button and that subscribe button, and hit that bell to get notified when my next video comes out. Again, my name is Joe Latender. Thanks for watching.